I need an application. I'm going to steal it from remote actually. Oh, I deleted it. I didn't even look what it contained. Base class that provides command line parsing. That's exactly what I need. Signal handling. I do not need that. Okay, on second thought, I don't like this. I think I don't like it. Parse command line parameters. It's a bit not exactly what I want. Well, there's a lot of application stuff here. Vulkan application. Class application in Vulkan. Right. Yeah. Looks a lot like what I would need for like every application, not just Vulkan. Should split off some kind of a base class for this. Yeah, before I do that, I think I need to write a lot of projects with applications before you can see the pattern. That is yeah, the same. Yeah, between every project. But let's steal it the way it is now. Let's put it in its own header as well. this. I think I need a AI memory page pool. Do I not? I do not. Only a thread pool. Yeah, I don't need 3 queues. But here we have a low priority queue. Or at least it's called like that. So let's do that here as well. Next. Let's just keep this on. Let's also switch to using the underscore at the end. Manage your directories for data configuration and resources. Pretty sure I'm going to need that. These things. Data config state cache runtime prefix. Yeah. What? It's application reference counter. Makes no sense. Yeah, well, not closing all windows, but definitely we need to quit. Oh, that won't work. I need to use my mouse. Also need access for this thing. Create a root window. Yeah. Oh, well, actually, I think my application is going to need a window in the end. What kind of window does this create? Probably a window with the Vulkan something in it. Not really reusable here. Create a logical device. Run. Yeah, we have an event loop, so let's copy this as well. Virtual. The thing is derived from something. from anything. Oh, that's you have to derive from it. Yeah. Can derive from it. Yeah, I need an application class, some kind of library that I can reuse. That's a whole project all in itself, I'm afraid. Well, that's kind of shocking. That just compiles. Yeah. So these two now are elements of the application. Shall I just call it application? Application. I think I can also pass argc and argv to it. No, I cannot. I thought I saw that it only has a default. So thread pool is no longer available. Well, it's part of the application now, but you don't need it. This is no longer available. That's passed to the event loop, but the event loop is also part of the application. You have an event loop. That thing must be constructed from a queue, the low priority queue. I don't know, it's part of the application. Definitely have to initialize it though. Yeah. That is a good question. Should I just destruct the application now? Or what? You have a destructor here. I should have a look at Linux Viewer again. All this stuff is also necessary. Just add it. It's not doing anything special though. Destructor. Yeah, at least the event loop is constructed from the low priority queue. What the hell? Might need that one. Instance create is probably Vulkan instance. Independent tasks. What is that? Oh, it's tasks. Yeah, we don't have tasks. Probably won't need it. Print on is always super easy to have. Unfortunately, it says Vulkan in it. Vulkan. Let's look at the base class of the application object. Because this is a base class, virtual function can't be used in the constructor. Therefore, initialization happens after construction. Application empty, but we don't have that. Thread pool, we do. Dependent tasks, we don't have that. Entering application default constructor. Instance is this. This instantiates the destructor of our standard unique pointers because it's here. Instead of the header, we can use the forward declaration for event loop. DC Vulkan. What shall I call that? Just notice for now. Have a display name function. I do have a parse command line thing, but this one is not doing anything. Oh god, I don't have a print argv, I think. Oh, I do. Let's see WDS. Application name. Yeah. Default stuff. Yeah, we should call on high priority queue. So yeah, we have only one. We shall just add all the queues. Cha. What you do here? I don't have a window yet, so let's just say the socket closed or something. Hello. Okay, man. Yeah, let's work together. No priority queue. I'm trying to type something here, but no, not working. Let's do it like this. Oh, that works. Hey. Okay, yeah. I need an until Codex disconnects. You have an until here as well. It's the header until underscore. There's no until here. What? Oh, the room. Well, this Vulkan application. So something below the event loop. Add it here. Wait a minute, is that going to work? I'm not sure if Codex not continuously connects or disconnects. I think it just connects one time and then keeps the connection, yeah. I hope so. Let's assume that for now. everything is terminated. Call that thing until, and I forgot. Codex disconnected or something. Application. Until Codex disconnects. That requires me to include utils. Threading gate. Include here. Now. Time to fix all the compile errors. Oh, didn't create that one yet. And that one resided where? Somewhere in Vulkan? Or in infos, Vulkan infos. None of it. Source, Vulkan, infos. Application info. It's a small thing, except of course this instruction, yet another one. Ugh. It's a bit too sophisticated. Oh, it's because Vulkan itself has an application info object. It's a bit too Vulkan-ish. So even that decoding stuff is really something from VK utils. I am not super happy with this. Let's do what I did for the remount daemon then. That was already pretty broken down. That's good. Application info. Yeah, just gonna copy this, I think. See, what do I have? An application name, and an encoded application version, how to encode it, how to decode it, and a set of functions. That is easy enough. And then accessors. Yeah, okay. Application does not know what application is. Probably should include application from H. But then it doesn't know what application info is. Okay, so both then. Default application name is not a member of application info. Yeah, okay, because it isn't. Mixi tags. So what I'm trying to do here is return an U8 string being a default application name. And it is being done by the application itself. And I have an application name accessor right here, yeah, which returns an U8 string. To well, I'll use the accessor then. However, that wouldn't be non-static. So now I need an instance of application info first. Application info. That's confusing. I just have an application info object here in the application itself. I don't know, man. It's not very scientific, as it were, I think. A bit freewheeling. That's what I thought. Include application info.h, which means that now I no longer need to include that in the .cxx. Oh yeah, that. So the question was, where do I put the application inside here? So the destructor of the application calls this, but it didn't. I already saw that. Destructing the application is doing absolutely nothing. It's kind of weird because the application has a standard unique pointer. Oh, therefore it does. It destructs it. When you mean destructing, this is being destructed, and then this is being deleted. But we have to call the join first. Join is not doing much. Just setting a boolean that you know, everything is okay. Hey, normal exit. So to figure out where that application must be called, so it is called somewhere. By who? Not here. It's called here. Aha, at the end of run. Okay, so we have to call run, and then by the time that exits, we also have done that. Finally get it. This is application run. And that will run until until it's done, I guess. And it's never done because I'm not opening any gates at the moment. Or you do have a gate. That's also part of the application. So at the moment Codex disconnects, then this gate must be opened when it is protected. So probably need an accessor for this. Simply quit. Yeah, quit is not doing anything. So if quit is being called, then this must be opened. That would be quit here. Open the gate. And then when that happens, we return from run after saying that it is a normal exit. And then this destruct event loop and everything finishes. Yeah, looks good. Except that we never call quit on the application, and I want to call quit at the moment that Codex closes the connection. I have who's gonna know that? The socket, I guess. Not a listen socket, but accepted socket. So we have an ST accepted socket, which is simply derived from accepted socket right now. So we can't add any custom code to that. So let's have a look at that. Accepted socket, destructor, not really doing anything. I need to catch the destructor here. Maybe socket itself. Return from read error as an override. This is detect connection terminated, closed by peer. That's what I want. Written. Could override the return return to 0. Oh, disconnected. Yeah, that's probably what we want to do, right? So I set this somehow on disconnected. There we are. Okay, so we have a public on disconnected on the socket, and I can set a lambda on that. Lambda that, well, I don't know, just copy this. And there was a member function of socket, which is the base class of accepted socket. So we have to call something on accepted socket to set the lambda. And the accepted socket is ST accepted socket, which is hidden inside my listen sockets. Where is it? Accepted socket type. Nothing. I also have to wait until it is connected, maybe. So I could call in new connection. Add a lambda for the disconnect. That seems to make sense, suppose. So here's a new connection. And we have the accepted socket there. Ta-da! So we're gonna call this. On the accepted sockets. On a disconnected. Now we call. Well, that's a lambda that takes an int reference and a boolean. Absolutely nobody knows what that is. You have to go back to on disconnected to find out what that is. Yeah, that's not helping. Let's see where it is called then. It's not being called. Yeah, it's an allow deletion count, and true means that it is a clean termination. What to do with that? There's a read error. Okay, so on a read error is false, and if the user wants it to be closed. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think we are not going to close the connection ourselves, so it's always this. So it's always false, so it's hardly usable. And this is just a magic thing that we have to pass on if we want to call something that needs it. Maybe you don't. So I would say actually, probably, hopefully, somewhere the API will force me to pass the allow deletion count on. It could be necessary that I pass that on to close immediately. No, I'll do that in lambda. Sorry, we called close on the listen socket. I can still do that. Close are already called by the time this is called. The socket itself is closed. Whatever. Okay, so now I get a call back. And then here I want to call quit on the application. So I need an application pointer. Actually, I can just do this application instance quit. Bit lame-ish, but yeah, would work. I'm very relying here on my mantra that if it compiles it works, because the only thing I can do is fix compile errors and then hope for the best. At the moment, let's see. Default application name is not a member. I still have that problem. Yeah, I had to call. Oh, I added if to application info now, and that has an application name, but I needed an instance for that, and now we have an instance. So we're going to call that on my instance, which is called application info underscore, and it's maybe not because it's not highlighted, or is it? I didn't run Codex here yet. Okay. And then again for the version. Oh god, this again. Valid cast from U8 string to character 8 type pointer. Reinterpret class is not necessary anymore. Type is already correct. Yeah, and here I need to do the same thing. Application version. Pop. Makey. That doesn't exist. Did you mean set application version? No, I just want to have the accessor. So I do have an accessor called application name in my application info. Encoded version. Okay. Undefined thread pool, not linking with thread pool. That's weird. To be automatic. No, it's application stuff. Okay. Oh, I copied the application class, and I never defined these functions, brutal functions. I don't have that here. Did come from a Vulkan application. Looking for that. defaults. So it's a virtual thingy. It's being used here. And this is the implementation. This returns some default reserved threads. Is that a constant of the application itself? Yes, and we have it. So I just need these. Road queue capacity, number of brokers, or looks like I need 3. I remember I only have 2, I thought. Let's compare it with application class that I copied here. I have 3. I left all 3 there. Okay, so these 3 must be added, and they are added like before. What? Where are they added? Pretty at the top. Yeah, well, okay. Why are they even added here? It's not, it defaults .cxx. No wonder I missed them. They are not defined in application.cxx. But here I will add them there. What am I looking at now? An application name version. Okay, we'll just continue here with the other virtual stuff. Because these are also virtual, are they not? Yes, these 3. The 3 missing functions, and the default number of threads is defined as a const expression in the application. Well, that one too. And this is a thread pool. Now it worked. So yeah, if it compiles, it must work, right? So I guess that's, well, if I added everything and we added it all the way until calling quit. So if you run this, it should not crash. It should keep running, and it should listen on the socket. That's what it is doing. And then if you run or rerun Codex, I'm gonna run it just like that. It should connect. And it crashes. It is calling on disconnect already, so that's not good. Reconnecting every time. I think it is actually reconnecting every time now I think about it. Or not. I don't know. I've got. Let's see what the assert tells us. Always add comments. Where you have an assert, add comments. And this is going to be an example. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, it says call on disconnected before calling init/connect. So these are being called at some point, and then I call that, and that's not allowed. How do we figure out where that is called from then? These. Just set a breakpoint. Breakpoint, man. Running. Where's the breakpoint then? 3? Yeah, it is called from, that's even our function. st socket tab, listen socket spawn accepted. And that's the one that calls init. It's that easy. So that would be there. No, it cannot be there. This one. That is calling init, apparently. Just quit. And it is calling init. Okay, so we have to do the on disconnected before the init. Well, okay. I didn't know that. And that's also an accepted socket. Create accepted. Yeah, sock is an accepted socket. Baba. Sock. That had to be done, I think. Call on disconnected and then call init. Gosh. Let's run it in the debugger because we are very paranoid now. It did not crash. That's something. Okay, so it did connect and then it sent a message. Data received. Well, here's my message. The message. Oh yeah, this is my code, so decode here. Config session, and then we get the session ID and the current working directory, and then that's the end of that message. That's the only message that we received. And then I can do another one, for example, run sleep 1. And then we have received sleep 1 here. Or at least exit output call. Or there is no output. I want to see my sleep one. Oh, here. I missed it. It's red. Straight in front of me. So exit commands done by the user. That's me. Sleep one. And then the output. Okay, very good. And then, if I quit this, then it will disconnect the socket. And then we should terminate the application. And we did. Exit normally. It just works. Yeah. My libraries are good. That's just how it is. So what exactly happened? It was perfectly appending decremented ref count of device. EPOL hub setting up. Close output device. Remove output device. Remove. Appending events. Ref count of devices 2. Queuing. IO event EPOL. Beginning of handling. Entering. Red. We get actually an EPOL in event because it was disconnected, which is results in end of file. Okay, returning 0. Return 0, which then calls close input device, which calls remove input device. It calls the thing is just removed from EPOL. And then we call application quit as part of the return 0 thing. And then this thread keeps running, but as a result of calling this quit, the main thread starts running again, printing program terminating, decrementing ref count now goes to 0. Event loop thread, it needs a deletion, leaving main. Oh, that's at the end, and only then application is being destructed, which destructs the event loop, which terminates my event loop thread. And then we are joining with this thread. So wait for it. Wait for that the event thread is being joined. And the event thread before that exits does stopping event loop thread because we're no longer active, sleeping 20 milliseconds in the hope that all threads will have finished. First needed deletion, deleting orphan. Entering raw input device destructor, deleting orphan, destructing accepted socket. It's about time. It's just destructing the output device. This stream buff. Stream of consumer release. Flush close on exit. Entering flush close on exit. Okay, I know tear down. Signal block in unregistered 34. Leaving E main. Okay. Yeah, too much output. So let's turn off some stuff. I don't think EVO is just working, so I'm gonna turn off EVIO and IO. Then we have never to look at that again. Just down here. I'm not sure I want to keep the others. Decoder. I'll just turn everything. Then see how small the debug output gets. So we run it again. And I'm just going to run the socket tip. Not in the debugger. Oh, there's no application name. That's not exactly what we want, of course. Let's see. On this. Good. Well, so now it's just telling us that messages have been decoded. It's a bit weird that this one is a notice. It's also weird that I have an indentation here still, actually. So debug output is turned off of the function that causes the indentation. Then I don't really want to see the indentation. I mean, now I would think like, oh, this is being called by that function because it's indenting. So it looks like this is all being done in the constructor of stdcode. Although it's indented even 4 spaces instead of just 2. Like in this case, this function is called from that function because it's indented 2 spaces. I think I'm going to commit what I have so far. Look good. Add application. Terminate on disconnect. Should revert this. Of course, it's still not being used now. Still an unused argument. Oh, there's no source file for it. So yeah, this is now hidden inside the application. And event loop as well. That looks all perfect. And then we have a few new files, which yeah, I don't know, they should be okay. Utility, what is utility for? So standard pair. Yeah, no, that's good. And I have this one. I don't think I use thread safe. It's also not necessary because it's already used in the info, application info. Yeah. There was something wrong with the application name. It was empty. Maybe you can get that information from CMake. It's a 1 here. Sure. Number of threads. Should have more than 1 thread. Maybe it just starts with 1 and then switches later. Okay, I'm not no longer sure what I was editing. This file? Yeah. Just 1 thread and then can you call init or so it's switching. Initialize, I mean. Initialize. Yeah, change number of threads. So it switches later. I think it's pretty good, except this here, that application name is not set. What is it calling here? Application name, which returns application info application name, which returns application name underscore, which isn't set unless set application name is being called. Let's have a look at the daemon again. Well, that is calling the set application name, so it should more or less work the same. It's being called in initialize, that makes sense, but not really. That is calling application name again. I have just hard coded here. Mount CTL should derive, I guess, from application. Yeah, that's what we need to do. What about the version? So I have override for the application name, not for the version. Version, print version, application version. Oh yeah, like that. Oh, yeah, I get it. Okay, more copy stuff. Application.cxx. Application version. Oh, this is nonsensical, but that's how it used to work. Yeah. Maybe the whole application info is class is too much Vulkan-ish, so I should just get rid of it. Because it's pretty confusing. You have an application info here, which contains just application name and the string. Okay, it has the encode and decode stuff, which is kind of nice. But then I added application info itself as a member of application. So, hello, then I have two application names in the same class. So I can keep this. Maybe if I don't have it. Actually, I think I don't have it. Don't have an application name in application. Don't think so. Don't have that. Can't type. Just an accessor. Yeah, the way this is, I would say it's public and everything. This should just, but it shouldn't even be virtual. Virtual, I think. It should only be virtual if I use it to get that information. In which case, it shouldn't be public. confusing. Okay, let's make it non-public. Let's call it thing. Why is it so different? Oh, because you have to go back to application info from here. Yeah, which is the current source there. Maybe the binary there is already included. Nothing. Definitely not getting that. Definitely not getting it. Oh, because the version is not set. Probably. Probably. Yeah, dus you need this. Include version.h and then don't have application name underscore C. What is that about? Dollar build dir version.h application name and version C. Oh, in remote. Oh, very funny. Still, it doesn't work. Oh, it's actually just something else now. Arrow cannot convert. Character const pointer const to an int string reference. Not super surprised about that. Could add an U8 in front of it, I suppose. Starting to doubt about my decision to use a U8 for the application name. But what can you do? Version.h in. Make this an U8 char. That is the U8 char. I don't know. Type. Char type. Nobody knows. And here U8 in front of it should work. Is it char 8 type? Yeah, gets a color. Must be it. And still, now it was not declared in the scope. Did you mean remount daemon? We're going back to the drawing board here. Declared here, yeah, because I added the version.h instead of the version.h.in. Then you are haunted. The same thing. Again and again and again and again. Haunted. Haunted. No clue. It compiled. So we're on now. We should get a sensible version somewhere. Yeah. Application name is application name, and the version is 1. Yeah, that's correct. So fixed-ish. Yeah. Status. Okay. Untracked files. Did I not add the application yet? That was a mistake then. Okay, sure. Finish build system and add initial. The initial thing did not have an application. Time flies, I guess. Okay. Get the status and add the application then. We have now a version and we have an application.cxx. And I'm not convinced that this is necessary really. Should try without it. The rest is good. Was not necessary, apparently. Right. Right. So the next thing is I probably want to call well, every time I have a new message let's just implement the decoding of the thread ID. So the thread ID is an UUID. Pretty sure about that. I should have UUIDs somewhere supported. Utils maybe. Don't see it. Gee. Impossible, of course. Well, I have it somewhere. I think I definitely have a support for UIDs in the Linux viewer. Let's go back there again. CXX. CXX UUID. Yes, loads of them. Constructs utility UID. This is data type UID. I could use that one, maybe, probably. Could also use find symbol. Find symbol UID prefix kind. Got totally lost it in the meantime, I guess. Ah, it just works. How about that? Yeah, it's all the same file. Based on boost. Default constructor generate from a string view. Assign from string. Assign from XML RPC string. So I just copy this, small enough. I really hate code duplication though, you know. So it's in this project, and I need it in another project, and that means I should just copy it or move it to utils, or create yet another submodule that, say, contains a lot of data types. So more where this came from, of course, like source data types. These are all related to Second Life, I think, mostly. Yeah. But URI and UID. What the hell do we have a vector 3D here for? Well, I have that in math now. It's based on Blaze, which I'm also not using. Well, let's see if we are up to date with the 120 genders that exist at the moment. Just curious. Gender male and gender female. Well, that's it. Yeah. I don't know. So maybe I was mistaken. There's only, well, let's not go that way because you know, half the world. Category, I don't know. Body. Okay, now I'm interested what the hell that is. It's basically unsigned. Vague character. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Copy it. So this stuff. It's just for printing. Yeah, it's all based on boost. So not much going on there except support for debug printing and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna copy it for now. I think so. Let's just put it in here. Dumpy dump. Copy. Slash. So types UID star dot here, and there they are. But can I compile them? Well, I don't know. Let's try it. As in, add them to the project. Magically. I don't know why, but it compiles. Do I not have to find boost or something like that? Maybe one of my libraries already using boost. It seems extremely likely. Grab configuration. Boost. Kind of already looks like boost is being used. Utils, for example. It used as it always works, but doesn't. Boost. Find package boost. Yeah, is already part of utils, so nothing special needed for sure. Okay, having that, you can add an UID to application. Include UID.h, and then say at the bottom. Yeah, so we need something that initializes it, because it comes from the protocol decoder. Public, do we have another set here? Set. We set run thread ID, set thread ID. UID const reference thread ID. Maybe it needs to be mutable as well. Let's try without first. Thread ID. Out entering PC notice entering application set thread ID with thread ID. And then that should be called from the decoder. Yeah, which is in here. So at some point we did decode it, and that will happen in the decoder here. Decode. That's no longer the case, of course. Yeah, no, I think, I mean, the thing is, I suppose already supporting initializing an UID from a string. Maybe I should change thread ID into accepting a string instead of an UID. Yeah, assign from string. Absolutely. To that thread ID string. Thread ID string. Sing sign. No, that won't compile. I don't think. Oh, it's even worse than that. I mean, I meant that, but this also doesn't work. Letter D star. Right. Well, because that is not compiling, we might as well. And then we can compile it and run it and run Codex. Let's use this one because then at least the thread ID is correct. What a bullshit. And we have received this. No, it's calling it every bloody thing. That's of course not what I want. Okay, this is what I want, or shall I wait until the message is finished? I think I might as well do it here. So I need state. Actually, I need to, if I would, normally I think you should wait until this is received. And then that means that we have to store state in the decoder. And then only the moment that the config session is finished, pass that to the application. I think I need a separate decoder for this, and then simply switch to the other decoder. Shall I see if Codex understands that? It might actually understand it if I use this same thread ID. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let's copy this. Okay, after a lot of edits, the current state application is such that it prints when receiving the JSON config session block. Please write a decoder especially for config session. And change to switch temporarily to the new decoder for such a block. And it did figure out that that was possible all on its own, which was more or less impressive. It switches from header decoding to body decoder. Example HTTP. So see the HTTP example that you found or something. See the HTTP. Yeah, to body switch that you found already. Before. As example. Okay, the new decoder. Let's call it let's put decoder at the end. Shall we call it config session decoder? Must have a member variable UID. Thread ID. That is set upon receiving the message with whatever actual UID that has, of course. And then pass it on to the application once it receives the message, after which I'm not sure if they will destruct or not, but this is enough for now, I guess. See what it does. I'm currently letting Codex work on the master branch, or well, whatever branch I have checked out. So currently we have branch, just one branch. Maybe I should have a work in progress branch, or just, you know, leverage Git for all the work that is going to be done and have multiple branches. Specifically a special branch that Codex then would be working in. So I could continue here already, because I'm working on a master branch and Codex is working on another branch. That would be cool. Much less risk also that it screws up stuff. If I have already changes, then I don't want to erase that like I did before. And I could just continue working here, and then when it is finished, I could look at the diff of that branch and then merge it if I agree with it. Which then also gives a history in the Git repository of what happened and who did what and when. Well, yeah, you get the point. What is this change here? Set thread ID. Already had that. That is so weird. As far as I know, I edited that. So why do I see that here? Huh? Edited? No, I edited that. It's my code. Maybe we did undo what I did. No, that's... what? I'm so not understanding it. But I also recently... No, I did not. Huh? Well, I'm calling it here, so it did exist. What the hell, man? Yeah, there it is. Below run. Okay, it moved it to a different place. So maybe I deleted it and then added it again. Yeah, that would be possible, but then we didn't get to see the delete, apparently. Yeah, definitely. It's not my code. I had this and quotes. And you're just assigning it directly. Strange. It's assigning it directly because it's no longer taking a string view. Okay, now I get it. Yeah. So I had one that took a string view, but now I ask it to store it as an UID in the state of the decoder, and then at the end pass it here. So it should no longer use a string view. So this is a correct change, and then this also has to change, and the quotes also should be removed. So it's completely correct, except that I'm confused that it didn't do it in place. It moved it a bit. No, it did not move it. This part is still the same. How can I have a run here and here I have something else? Oh, that's my function. Now I get it. It added a second set thread ID. So now you can set the thread ID by string view and also by UID. Yeah. So this one should be deleted. The one that I added here. Boop boom. And then we get a config session decoder. Is it already done? Yep. So we can now start working. Let's edit the application.h and then remove my thread ID because you no longer need to set that twice, obviously. Let's see if it compiles. It does compile. What happens mostly, if not always, after the AI edited something. And then we have config session decoder added to the, yeah man, put it in a different yeah, no. Well, that's interesting. It deleted this. Just a test. I have to agree with that. But still. Okay, let's see how that works. So it says if the line is config session, or where did that come from? It should not be good. We have I have a new line detector, and I think the new line detector only looks at that anyway. Yeah, okay, maybe could still skip over an \r to reach up till including a new line. I would say just strip that first and then just compare with that. It looks really bad. Config session decoder begin this. Switch protocol decoder, config session decoder. Not sure why it would want to have the config session decoder as a member inside the current decoder. So not wasting memory. So yeah, why not? Override on accepted. As soon as the first is received, close this listen socket. Oh, it's on accepted. Deletion is override is removed. It's no longer calling on disconnected. Let's see here. Accepted socket. New connection. That is not going to compile then. Not going to run, I mean. Because this must be done before the init. New connection. It's hard to look, hard to see what this diff is. Oh, here it is still done before the init. implemented a dedicated config session decoder to temporarily switch to it for config session blocks. Socket tab daemon added config session decoder with UID thread ID. It parses SSID lines and on config session calls application instance set thread ID, switches back to the previous decoder. Source socket top updated SD decoder decode to detect config session. Just the opening call. Config session decoder begin, then switch protocol decoder. Present after the HTTP header body switch. Edit application set thread ID for UID. The decoder can pass the parsed UID directly. Let's first see if it not crashes. Oh, no, can just do quit. Quit, resume. It's not crashing. Not printing something very readable here though. Okay, and why not? I think it's just printing the raw data here. Okay, let's see if the switchback worked. I think that worked then. Well, it seems to have worked. Except for the printing, but I can't blame the LLM for that. That must be my error. Surely it is using this. There's a print on. Yes. Let's print on. So JSON escaping the same as XML? Sure about that. At least I'm assuming it didn't already. Okay, so this is the bulk config session decoder. Derived from decoder. The thread ID to be decoded, totally public. Who gives a shit? Why is this public? But this ChatGPT has absolutely no clue about object orientation, encapsulation in this case. Ridiculous. Begin. Private stuff here. No. My stuff at the top. This is block view string. This is string view. Nevertheless, could just print a string view. No, I cannot. Should use buff to string for escaping. Possible escaping. And then find session ID open. That is not working. Well, this is totally not safe what it's doing here. Totally not safe. It assumes that both messages are in the same message block. That is BS. Huh? Oh, sorry, I'm mistaken. I thought about this, but it's just session ID, I think. Yeah, that's in the same message, of course. if VFX is white VFX 11. Yeah. I'm thinking I just added it so slight speed up because it just should never happen that we have twice of these messages in one block. So as soon as he found this, there is no reason to look for it again. And you can also argue this always comes before that one. So as long as we didn't find it, there is no reason to do this compare. But on the other hand, if the message is completely effed up, then I mean, if the decoding fails, this is just never set to true. And why are we setting it? In order to check that we have a thread ID. I think it should just, I don't know, crash or something, or throw an exception really. If it does not contain a valid UID. But we can't continue. Yeah, we just can't continue if that happens. So this is all nice and dandy, but if this never happens, then we won't set the thread ID, which means that we should abort. But aborting is better than crashing, so if this decoder would miss that and therefore not look for that, because it just thinks, well, eventually you will get something, we'll get this, then it just eats all incoming messages forever, because it skipped the end probably. So let's just always look for the end. At the very least, then it gives back it goes back to the previous decoder. This if run return decoder is also really stupid, because of course there is a decoder to return to. Yeah, it's a pointer to, well, if begin is not called, then that would not be the case, but that's insane, right? I mean, that's just a big mistake. So I think I'm gonna do this differently. This must be an assert. The thing must be set. And if you ever fail on that, then the reason is that you didn't call begin. Before what? And then this is always true. And I don't think this is necessary, right? Wait. Turn decoder is now set. So good. I mean, this is the end of the message, man. We are going to switch back. We already switched back. We are going to be destructed. It's just nonsense. So begin must be called before decode is called. Yeah, gotta figure it out, you know. You did not call begin. And then equally here, if thread ID, if we encounter that and thread ID is not set, that I am not even going to throw an exception. I'm just going to crash hard. Let's use another assert here. Although an assert, I think I use an assert mostly for the developer did something wrong. Like here, you know, if you don't call begin and you forget to call begin, then you stop here. And then you read that, oh, I've got to call begin. But if this is wrong, then actually it's not an error of the programmer. It's an error of the Codex CLI. They wrote a corrupt message to the socket, so that's not an assert. I should throw an exception here. So if we want to do that always, but if not thread ID, then we have a problem, and then I just want to throw. And I'm going to use throw alert, because that's my stuff. Then this allows me to have very precise error reports. So here we can say received config session without session ID block. But if that ever happens, then yeah, I mean, you want to see the message, yes? So got message. I'll put the whole message between that. Oh, is that possible? Well, it should be possible. And then the message is going to be written as message, and that string has to be between square brackets as well. And then comma AI args, and then the message, and then the thing that you have to print. It was already printed here, but it's debug output. Well, this survives even in non-debug code. So then you get the full error here. Actually, I don't have that. Ouch, we don't have that. I mean, I would have it if I stored it, but you get one message at a time. So the only thing we have now is this. That's the whole message at this point. Information is just not there. Well, it could be in the message block still. Of course, if that is the same message block as that contained the previous stuff. So you could go a whole way here and then try to print the whole contents of the message block or something like that, but it's actually going a little bit too far at the moment. Let's just not print the message. But yeah, you want to know where exactly that happens. I think so. Let's print the function or something. I can print the function or the source code or the line number. Let's see what options we have. Function, file name, line prefix. I think that's good enough here. Or better. So that would be L alert. Okay, and then we need to have the header for that, which is utils. Yeah, I'm so not happy about this. I think for now I'm just going to ignore it, I think, because it shouldn't be there, right? It shouldn't be a character return character there. I mean, otherwise I just can't live with this, so otherwise I have to write something that strips off the new lines in character returns and then compares it, which is totally possible, but I would only go that far if I expected it ever to happen, and I don't think this will. There's just no character return. Sure. So yeah, let's do it like that. Suppose this works then. Now I'm throwing something. Are we catching that? Because it should catch that in the main. Well, I'm catching it already. Cool. So AI, although it was already used. Right, so this is calling set thread ID, and now we have the thread ID. Yep. So let's go back to the main application, see how that worked. So this is the whole application. We just create an application, decode command line parameters, construct a socket address, that is the endpoint here. Create a listen socket, listen on the endpoint, and run the application. And then all the secret is encoded in the type st listen socket. ST stands for socket tab. So this is the listen socket. Two overridden virtual functions. One is if someone connected and we accept the client, then that is called with a remote address and the file descriptor, which we don't really care about, but it has to be passed on. And we need to do a callback to the fact that we have a new connection, and that this is already done in the default virtual function. But yeah, well, and even that as well. So the only reason that this one is overridden here is because we wanted to insert that, which makes sure that application is quit when the first client that connected here is disconnected. Also, after this, the new connection is called. Well, literally from there. It's kind of weird that now this is visible and then we continue here. And what do you think? Well, maybe we should put close there, but well, let's leave it like this. And that just means that it stops listening. So it accepts one client, and then if that client disconnects, then it quits the application. And then here we have another one. The accepted socket is also defined by us. That exists of a default output stream and an ST decoder, which is also defined by us. The decoder is doing the following. That's just decodes being called. for every message, where a message is defined by a new line. That's the default namely. So it just gathers new characters until it sees a new line, and then it says, hey, we have a new part that ends on a new line, let's call decode. And then you have here a contiguous, and it makes sure that it is contiguous. If it has to copy it to do that, it will copy it. If it is already contiguous, then nothing is copied. You just get a string view in the in the socket buffer almost. Well, like literally, I think there's absolutely no copying being done by my library. To the message block is a linked list of in size adjusted memory blocks, within which then the message lives. Garbage collection, everything is automated, so it's almost always already contiguous. But for sure, if this is called, so it could be a temporary message block just to make it the message contiguous. And then we can get that as a string view. Points inside the message block. And then here's doing the same thing, you know, being afraid that there would be an get return there. Okay, so we don't do anything, we just print what we receive here. But if we see that a message contains or equals actually, maybe you can do contains. It contains C++ 20 or is it C++ 23? I think it's 23 actually. Can't remember anymore. Let's look that up. Standard string, I think. Capacity. And I don't see it, so let's just search for contains. Ranges contains, basic string contains. So that's where I just was. That's a separate page here. Yeah, it's C++ 23. Well, it's 26, so I could switch to 23, but nah. We could do start with, that's C++ 20. Start with a single character or a character const pointer or a string view. That might be faster. Starts with going to assume that that does not scan the memory twice, but even if it does, that would be all inside the fastest cache. So compared to socket communication, it's fast enough to not make this a const expression string view with the length already pre-calculated during compile time. Hello, why are you doing this to me? No, I'm gonna call you 8779. How are you? I think it's a nice feature of my library that you can switch to a different decoder temporarily. So this is the SD decoder, and if we see that, then we switch to the config session decoder, because you just saw the config session. and back afterwards. So this is where you have to go back to. So if the begin here is not called, then yeah. So instead of saying decode, maybe I should do before calling switch decoder, switch protocol decoder. Let's do that, because I think that's typical. And the begin is on config session decoder. Yeah, well, there's begin here. So let's remove the things. Call begin before passing it to it. The to being this. Yeah, call makes it clear that this is a function. Just K. I can remember that. Well, I'm saying that, but is there anything I can still remember these days? For example, I almost forgot to go to chess again. Youth chess, where I now teach, make fun with the kids, with the chessboard in between us. I have to go in 15 minutes. Maybe I should eat something first. Yeah, maybe it's a good moment to stop streaming before I forget that. Get status. Get div. Yep, so passing UID now to the application. Rename that because, well, we're passing a JSON string. Not sure about the escape, but there is no escape. So that the code is correct. Throw instead of doing nothing, basically. The config session decoder, well, that's a new decoder. It should probably go in its own header though. Otherwise, it's gonna pile up pretty quickly. And this was deleted, yeah, because I was just testing pausing something. Pausing 42 here. That's not really necessary. Yeah, pretty bolt of the LLM to delete that. I'm not sure about this. I didn't ask it. It must have seen that and thought, yeah, you know, that's a test. Let's delete it. I don't like it. 42 is it used to be the answer to the universe, life, and the rest, but in code it's usually just a test. An integer foobar. Okay, well, yeah, commit, git commit everything, and what is the message? Because oh, wait a minute, I can't commit it yet. I'm going to move this to a different file, I think. It sits in socket tab. It should not be in socket tab. VI that, and then move it to, let's say, very creative, socketdecoder.h. Include socketdecoder.h, and then a config session decoder. I don't know what I said, but it was definitely not what it should have been. Okay, Pragma want, and decoder is not highlighted. Nobody knows why. No decoder here either. It's in socket, yeah. Why do I not have a decoder? Let's have a look in protocol. The protocol decoder, so forward declaration. Input device maybe, an input device or streambuf. Only one matching tag. Okay, something tells me I'm not. Huh? Something is very wrong with C tags. In other words, try the other headers first. We need a sync. Probably use sync. VIO sync, and then we have a message block over here. That's an override, so that if you have that one, we also have this one. We probably even have sync already then. Just need to find this decode. You know what? I'm gonna gamble that I was sane and not drunk, because I'm never drunk. Decode. It's a good gamble. That it is stored in evio decode.h. Yeah. Well, no such file directory. Too bad. I was drunk apparently. No, I'm just kidding. evio has the following stuff. Grep. Is it a struct or is it an? Well, it's one of them. Decode. EVIO struct. No. Brilliant. We have 4 declarations, but that's about it. Oh, protocol. I'm blind. Of course, it's in protocol. I'll stick with class, and then I put in a protocol here. Aha! It is. I thought I was sane. It's called a protocol decoder. Banan! Who would have thought that? And it's. And now I also understand why I didn't find it. Okay, let's fix that. EVO protocol. Oh, there is no EVIO here. Oh, there is an EV. Sorry, there is an EVIO here. Okay. EVIO slash protocol. That's the reason. Resource. Mix C tags. Edit whatever I was editing. Deepness of color now. And there is the header. Protocol. Now we need UID. And sync, the question is sync known from here? Yep, sync is already included. Already have sync. We'll of course have that as well. Right. Maybe it's only 4 declared. Let's have another look. Message block. Input device probably declares that and or sync. I don't see a for declare for. I don't see a for declare for message block. Actually, I think I see a for declare for message block. So okay, I have to define it. Included, I mean, of course. EVIO streambirth.h. Right, then we have debug stuff. It's pretty tiresome, those headers. I mean, you would think that that could be automated. Why would I, as a human, have to put time into headers? Ridiculous. String, yeah, come on. The UID has string. Okay, so more strings. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm throwing this. I'll do it. Okay, I think that should be it. You know, it has its own header. Yay. Yeah, I have to go. Well, have to. I want to go, and I have to go in 5 minutes, but maybe now I can still go to the bathroom. That counts. Or eat something. So I'll be back later, I think, this evening.